Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Uncle Matt's Cookery Lessons. Creme Brûlée, it's about time. So in my last recipe, I made pavlova, and that was a long-standing request from my lady. Now, when you make pavlova, you separate eggs. When you separate and use the egg whites, you have leftover egg yolks, and it really would be a shame to waste them. So I thought, okay, let's get on with creme brulee. This recipe will make 3. So obviously if you've got dinner party for 6, just double the recipe. Once your egg yolks are separated, I like to heat up my cream. There's a tiny bit of milk in there as well, but it's almost entirely double cream. If you're using a fresh vanilla pod, this bit's more necessary than what I'm doing actually, because I'm using a good quality real vanilla extract. A vanilla pod, obviously you split it, you put the pod and the beans from it in the cream and milk, and you warm that up and you infuse. I still like to warm this up because I think it gives it a head start when it comes around to actually cooking it. So while that's warming up slowly, what I want to do is mix the sugar and the egg yolks, but we are not whisking this, and by no means trying to create a pale, light, fluffy mixture. I'm not trying to put any air into this. I just really want to get the very well combined, and that's as much as I'm going to mix it. The cream has now heated up. Now we need to temper this. If you try to chuck in all of the boiling hot cream into the eggs, you've got to scramble the eggs and it's ruined to start again. So trickle it in whilst continually stirring. Get about half of it in, and then those eggs will be fully tempered and they can go back into the pan with the hot cream, the rest of it. And we're going to cook that out a little bit to thicken it. Basically we're making custard here. And when we're making this custard, it is important to know that you've got to stand there and stir it. You can't leave it. So when you've got this on a very, very low flame and you're stirring gently backwards and forwards, no interruptions. So if the phone rings and it's Jerry Halliwell, your next door neighbour, and she's been very careless and she's got her toe stuck in the tap again and she's in the bath and she's all covered in soapy suds, I'm afraid you're going to have to say, sorry Jerry, I'm busy, I'm making creme brulee, stop being so clumsy in future, and call a plumber. So that was a rather disturbing little insight into my mind and my little fantasies. But anyway, whilst I was doing that, I've edited through this a bit. I've been stirring this custard backwards and forwards, making sure I scrape the bottom till it's a bit more viscous. I'm happy with that. Pour it through a sieve into a jug. The sieve is there just to strain out any little bits of egg yolk that has curdled. In this case it hadn't. One of the reasons why I do that is when you have got fresh vanilla bean in there, it tends to stick to the bottom of the ramekin when it's cooked, unless you've thickened it up a little bit, and then sometimes it holds its form a bit and you will have some evenly distributed in the dish. I once had a customer send back a creme brulee. She thought there was fag ash in the bottom of the ramekin, of all things. Anyway, so there you go, get that the right way round so you can see what I'm doing. As I said before, this is enough for 3 decent ramekins. I'm just evening it out there, making sure I've got an equal amount in them, backwards and forwards, and then just finish them off. Very happy with those. Personally, I like a plain creme brulee, just a classic vanilla. You can put some berries in the bottom, whatever you want really, you know, you can put chocolate in them. As I say, I may do that in future when I run out of recipes. But for now, a classic one. In a dish, a nice flat bottom on it. I put a J-cloth there, it's just to help to diffuse the heat that might scramble at the bottom of the ramekins. That was boiling hot water, very, very carefully poured in so it doesn't splash into the ramekins, and then extremely carefully put that in your oven. I cook mine at 100 degrees centigrade. That is after 30 minutes. The reason why I do it such a low temperature, you can do these on a higher temperature. I don't like it if they souffle at all. I like them to stay absolutely mill pond flat. And you can see there, I was demonstrating a nice little wobble. After about an hour, they're done. This is the next day after they've set completely in the fridge. This is some demerara sugar. That is not crucial, but what I prefer to use is a more granulated sugar rather than a caster sugar. I find the slightly larger granules usually melt a bit better and I get a nicer caramel. But don't worry about it being demerara or brown sugar. In fact, my absolute favourite will be just plain white granulated sugar. I put an even coating on there, put plenty on, and then tap off the excess, and then just with your thumb just tidy up the rim, those little bits of grains that could be stuck on the side. And now it is time to caramelize. You need a blowtorch. You can use a very hot grill or broiler, but I prefer this method. Just get the flame on, there you go, just about there, not too fierce. And don't be afraid of this, hold it in your hand and tilt it. The reason why I do this is because as the sugar melts, it becomes sort of slightly liquefied, and you can then control it. It runs. You can actually use gravity to make it sort of roll around the surface. Keep twiddling it with your fingers. If you burn the tips of your fingers a little bit, just man up. Come on, get through this. And don't hold it on one spot for too long because it will burn. And know when to stop. And that point is just about coming up now as it starts to get just on the slightly dark side. Get off. That's it. Stop. Stop. He's going to stop anytime. There, that's the point. There we go. That's okay. It was demerara sugar after all. It was already a bit dark. That is just a couple of minutes later. Crunch. And I make no apologies for this gratuitous slow motion. Tell me you don't want that. That is gorgeous, perfectly set custard with a beautifully crisp caramel topping. That is why creme brulee is so popular. This dessert has been knocking around for centuries. It can be found as far back as the 17th century in French cookery books, but it would appear that creme catalane, which is sort of Spanish, Catalonian, has been around since the 14th century. So it looks like the French stole it from the Spanish. Naughty French. Anyway, I won't hold it against them. That was delicious. I had that for breakfast. Thank you for watching Uncle Matt's Cookery Lessons. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you again really soon. Bye!